This is Nightline.
Tonight, Grammy winner Kid Cudi. His dramatic turn on the stand in the Sean Diddy Combs trial. The Pursuit of Happiness rapper. Testifying, Combs came to his home to confront him about dating his ex, Cassie Ventura.
Kid Cudi had dated Cassie Ventura, and she testified that it made Sean Combs jealous and angry.
Why he suspects Combs, who denies all charges, coordinated torching his Porsche. And what he said on social media after court. Plus, Pentagon leaker. ABC's exclusive interview with the man behind one of the biggest intelligence leaks in U.S. history.
I did believe that I needed to educate the people about what was going on.
Speaking out from behind bars, serving 15 years for sharing military secrets on social media.
Do you feel at all that you betrayed your country?
And Angela Bassett, the Hollywood icon starring as the first female president in Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning.
You gave him an aircraft carrier?
I am the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Mr. Secretary.
Spilling the tea on co-star Tom Cruise.
He truly is a global superstar. And you know how you know that? You just drove an hour to work, and you hear the propellers of the helicopter, and he's piloting himself to work.
Why she says she doesn't believe this is the end of the legendary franchise. Plus, could Kim Kardashian be getting ready for a new career? The reality superstar says she's ready to make it legal.
From ABC News headquarters in New York, this is Nightline.
Thanks for joining us. Tonight, Grammy winner Kid Cudi, who offered dramatic testimony in the Sean Diddy Combs trial, portraying the mogul who denies all charges as angry, vengeful, and looking like a Marvel supervillain. Day 9 of testimony in the trial of Sean Diddy Combs.
What are you expecting today?
And today, a Grammy-winning artist took the witness stand. Scott Mescudi, otherwise known as Kid Cudi, the actor, rapper, songwriter behind hits like Pursuit of Happiness. And Day and Night.
Day and night, I toss and turn.
Taking the stand to testify about what the prosecution claims are criminal actions committed by Combs during Mescudi's brief relationship with Cassie Ventura in 2011, during an apparent breakup between Cassie and Combs.
Kid Cudi had dated Cassie Ventura, and she testified that it made Sean Combs jealous and angry.
Mescudi testifying about an alleged break-in at his house in 2011, which he says was Combs showing up when he wasn't home. Mescudi testifying that he had a tense phone call with Combs, where Combs insinuates he was at Mescudi's home. I said, expletive, you in my house? And he was like, what's up? I was like, expletive, are you in my house? And he said, I just want to talk to you. I was like, I'm on my way over right now. He was like, I'm here. When he arrived, Combs was not there.
But he said Christmas presents he had bought for members of his family were unwrapped, torn open, and his dog was locked in the bathroom.
Mescudi says he later called police, who took a report. But the headline moment of this testimony, Mescudi describing an alleged 2012 incident where his Porsche 911 convertible had been set on fire. It looks like the top of my Porsche was cut open, and that's where they inserted the Molotov cocktail, Mescudi testified. Arson is part of the racketeering conspiracy count Combs faces. Cassie Ventura previously testified that Combs threatened to have Kid Cudi's car blown up.
Kid Cudi's car fire has been talked about for years, but it's significant now because federal prosecutors are trying to convince the jury that Sean Combs used arson as part of a criminal enterprise. That's one of the predicate acts of the racketeering conspiracy charge. Combs denies it.
Combs denies all the charges against him. Shortly after that alleged incident, Mescudi says he and Combs met at the Soho House in Los Angeles.
He said he remembered walking into a room with all sorts of glass windows and Sean Combs staring out the window, his hands behind his back, looking like what Kid Cudi called a Marvel supervillain. That earned something of a chuckle inside the courtroom. But he said Combs' demeanor was very calm.
Mescudi said he told Combs that Cassie told him she and Combs were broken up. When the meeting ended, he says, we stood up, shook hands, and as I was shaking his hand, I said, what are we going to do about my car? He looked right back at me, very cold stare, and said, I don't know what you're talking about.
And remember, Cassie Ventura had sent her mom an email just before Christmas in 2011 saying that Combs had threatened to harm both her and Scott Mescudi.
Mescudi testified that Combs basically apologized for everything without admitting any involvement in the firebombing a couple of years later, and that Mescudi had made peace with it. After his testimony, Kid Cudi posting to his Instagram stories.
And I've been seeing all the love and support, and I just want to say thank you so much, man. This is a stressful situation. I'm glad it's behind me.
For more on this story, watch Impact by Nightline, Diddy on Trial, now streaming on Hulu and Hulu on Disney+. We turn now to an ABC News exclusive interview with a young man who made shocking headlines as the so-called Pentagon leaker. In 2023, then 21-year-old Air National Guardsman Jack Teixeira was found to have been sharing classified military secrets in an online chat room. Here's ABC's Linsey Davis.
This call is from
Jack Teixeira. Hello, is this Linsey?
For the first time, the man responsible for one of the most consequential intelligence leaks in U.S. history is speaking out from behind bars. Former Air National Guardsman Jack Teixeira is currently serving a 15-year prison sentence after pleading guilty to 6 counts of willful retention and transmission of classified information relating to the national defense.
My intent was to educate the United States populace, people, about what was going on. It was not to harm the United States as a country because I love my nation. I'm a patriot.
The now 23-year-old shared top-secret information, including troop movements related to the war in Ukraine. He did it on Discord, a chat platform popularized by gamers. The government says in an attempt to impress anonymous friends on the internet.
In your sentencing memorandum, there was a psychiatrist who talked about your experience with the Discord community, saying that you felt for the first time in your life accepted and understood. Would you say that that's why you shared the information with them?
That I was accepted and understood by them? I would say that was more of a secondary factor because, of course, you need people that you can trust when, I guess, doing something like that. But it was really going to happen regardless.
As an IT specialist in the National Guard, Teixeira had a top-secret security clearance, one the Pentagon says he needed to do his job. But prosecutors say he exploited that access. According to the indictment, another document shared included discussing a plot by a foreign adversary to target United States forces abroad.
I love the United States, and I'm glad to have been born here and raised here because I think this is the greatest country on earth. And it was by no means meant to harm my country, but I did believe that I needed to educate the people about what was going on because I believe they were being lied to.
What lies did you think that you were uncovering by the Biden administration?
Without going into specifics, I thought it was a lot about specific battles and the outcomes of those battles, or certain troop positions and certain things on the tactical and strategic aspect of that war and in other places around the world, and that there was a lot of skewing by them to, I guess, put up a different image than what was actually going on the ground. And that's what I believed were some of the lies that he was propagating, especially concerning our assistance to Ukraine and other countries. And I just thought there was a lot of lie.
Do you feel at all that you betrayed your country?
I don't feel that I betrayed my country at all. Just the opposite. I believe that I educated a lot of the people who have been kept in the dark and who were being lied to about this, concerning all of the things that had been going on.
But at his sentencing hearing in November, Teixeira appeared remorseful, telling the judge, "I'm sorry for all of the harm that I've caused and wrought to my friends, family, and those overseas. I don't think I can really sum up how contrite I am."
At the time of your sentencing, though, you were very contrite and you said you were sorry for what you did and you accepted accountability. And so has that changed? Do you still feel sorry, and are you still willing to accept the accountability?
So what I had said was I was sorry for how what I had done affected my family and my friends. But I still believe in my actions. And while that wasn't explicitly mentioned, I believe that it was implied, but I never necessarily apologized for my actions, but how they affected others that I cared about.
Well, you said, "I'm sorry for all the harm I caused."
And that was mentioned specifically towards those who I love.
Ring camera footage we're showing for the first time chronicles the moments the FBI stormed in to seize his devices. The government found many of those devices smashed and said that he took a series of obstructive steps intended to prevent investigators from understanding the scope of his alleged actions. As investigators dug into Teixeira's past, the Washington Post uncovered a video of Teixeira holding a gun and using racial slurs.
You posted a video of yourself at one point using the N-word, saying racial slurs against Jews. And there was a friend of yours who was interviewed by the Washington Post, and he said that you described yourself as a racist. Not only that you were proud of being a racist. Is that how you would describe yourself today, as a racist?
Not at all, because a lot of that friend group's humor was dark, and a lot of people are not going to understand exactly how we joke and the lens with which we view the world and how we just offload a lot of distress and stress, and a lot of people might be offended by it, but that's our humor. So no, I don't believe that I'm a racist at all.
As he serves time in federal prison, he remains adamant that his remorse is simply about being taken away from his family and friends and any fallout for them.
What you really deep down want to say is, what were you thinking? It was hard to not ask him why.
His mother, Dawn, is still processing it all.
Did you, as his mother, have a sense of the gravity of him leaking these military secrets?
No. It was a complete surprise to me. That morning, the New York Times reporters came down my driveway asking to see him. That was the first inkling I had that anything was awry. I still didn't believe it. It was unbelievable to me.
An attorney for Teixeira filed an application for a pardon from President Trump on Wednesday. Such requests are typically submitted after a federal sentence has been completed, but it's up to each presidential administration to approve or deny.
If you had the chance to do this again, would you take the same action?
I believe that I would. Considering everything that was going on at the time, I believe I would have, yes.
That action came with a 15-year prison sentence. And so knowing that, you would still take that action?
Yeah, I mean, we can always go back, and I've tortured myself over and over and over again about what would happen if I didn't do this, or what would happen if this and that, and in reality, it doesn't really matter, because all that I was doing to myself was hurting myself and trying to guess at events and circumstances that were far beyond my ability to perceive. I could always make guesses, but until you're living in that moment and doing what you're doing, you're not going to really understand of what could I have done, what should I have done, etc. So, but I still do believe that, yes, I would have done it again.
Our thanks to Linsey. When we come back, we're one-on-one with Angela Bassett, co-starring with Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Why she says she was a little envious of his work commute. Welcome back. Angela Bassett is a Hollywood heavyweight known for taking on big roles with grace and gravitas. She appears as the first ever female president in the new Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Here again, ABC's Linsey Davis.
When the need for certainty is absolute and the odds are deemed impossible, the mission falls to him.
Should he choose to accept?
29 years ago, this little movie came out called Mission Impossible. It was just called Mission Impossible. Of course, an adaptation of the 1966 TV series. Were you a fan?
Yeah, I was a fan. You know, we only had about 2-3 channels.
Right, back then, you're right.
They went off at 11 o'clock, so whatever was good on television, I was there for it.
Was there ever a time from the TV show, or once it became a movie and the series became so famous, that you thought, I'm going to name it and claim it, I want to do that?
And actually, that's one I did not name and claim. Yeah, I remember seeing the show. There was one black guy on there, but you never saw any representation. It wasn't something that I thought about when I became an actor. Then it became, you know, this iteration, Tom Cruise's Mission Impossible. But what I really do love about what we're doing now is that women are so prominent, you know, in the narrative.
And so there is this big reveal that your character,
Oh, yes.
Erica, goes from CIA director to president.
Yes, I get a promotion.
You gave him an aircraft carrier?
I am the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Mr. Secretary. It is my aircraft carrier, and I do with it as I please.
And what do you tap into for a portrayal when we've never had a female president, never had a black female president, and so you are that first representation on screen that many people are saying this, perhaps
one day life will
imitating art.
Right. Exactly. But, you know, it was easy to, you know, look at history. Shirley Chisholm.
Yeah, sure.
You know, wonderful, intelligent, smart, brilliant. Made a run for presidency. Of course, Stacey Abrams, Barbara Jordan.
Yes.
So many brilliant sisters who've paved the way. Maybe not in that position, but certainly could have, I believe.
Unbought and unbossed.
That's right. That's right. That's it.
So let's talk about the dynamic between your character, Erica, and Ethan, Tom Cruise's character. It seems at some points in the movie that she is his only hope.
Yeah, Ethan, you know, he's used to doing things his own way, you know? Get an idea in a moment. He can't wait. He's not waiting for permission. But I think Erica certainly has an appreciation for him. And she follows her instinct to a great degree.
They may not agree with you, but they do respect your authority.
Before this is over, someone will panic. Someone will try to stop me.
Will you give us the iconic line of the movie that you get to play, first time ever a woman gets to say,
"This message will self-destruct in 5 seconds." I don't think I said it with that deep a voice.
How did that feel when you get told?
It was nerve-wracking. It's the first time that a woman has uttered those iconic words, and I didn't know that I was doing it until late in the process. So I show up and it's like,
For every life you tried to save, you gambled millions more.
What was it like working with this cast, obviously, for Mission Impossible?
Tom Cruise is I mean, he truly is a global superstar. And you know how you know that? When you're sitting in your trailer getting your makeup, you just drove an hour to work, and you hear the propellers of the helicopter, and he's piloting himself to work.
What was it like knowing that this is theoretically the final chapter of Mission Impossible when you're going to set? And it's
I like
been
how you
such
say
an...
that theoretically. Yeah. I don't believe it. I don't believe it's the final, the last, the end. You didn't get a sense of that on the set, which is great. It was just great joy, great enthusiasm, a lot of hard work, long days, you know, and just living in the moment. But never once thought, this is the last one.
Thank you so much for the time. Appreciate it.
Our thanks again to Linsey. Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning is in theaters and IMAX tomorrow. When we come back, Kim Kardashian, legal? It could happen. And finally tonight, Kim Kardashian, one step closer to becoming a lawyer. The reality star graduated from her law program after 6 years of working under California's Law Office Study program, which enables students to obtain a legal education by apprenticing without attending law school. Kim sharing on Instagram her backyard graduation ceremony. Now hoping to pass the bar and follow in the footsteps of her dad, famed attorney Robert Kardashian. And that's Nightline. You can watch all of our full episodes on Hulu. We'll see you right back here, same time tomorrow. Thanks for staying up with us. Good night, America.